We are all gathered here today to uh, mourn our duties and our time as uh, superheroes, and our Justice League all began with me 10 years ago. As we go into retirement, I am going to miss every single one of you. I can't believe it's over. I'm gonna miss you guys so much. Mara, we are all gonna miss you, girl. And we are so proud of you. Yeah, you're not only the only one of us to be a queen, but the only one of us to successfully settle down, marry, and be a mother. I mean, I never got anywhere close with Steve because he died after like a week of knowing him. Yeah, and Mr. J broke up with me. Yeah, and me and Billy are siblings, so that would be gross. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, directed once again by James Wong, and who also directed the first Aquaman 5 years ago, and is the 16th and final installment in the DCEU. Can we just cry for a moment and let that sink in? That we will be getting no more DCEU movies after Aquaman 2. I mean, yeah, it's a heartbreaking loss for cinema, to say the least. It's the end of a 10-year era. Uh, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom tells the story, picking up after the events of its predecessor, where Arthur Curry slash Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, is now the king of Atlantis, and also a husband to Mera, played by Amber Heard, and a father to their son Arthur Curry Jr. And is not enjoying being the king of Atlantis that much. Though the vengeful pirate Black Manta, who has now become stronger, he sees his chance to get his proper revenge on Aquaman for murdering his father by finding this black trident and awakening the evil king of the dark kingdom, Kalos, king of Nicorus, and by using this substance known as Auckland to melt the polar ice caps. Uh, Arthur has no choice but to seek the help of an unlikely ally, his imprisoned brother, Orm. Now, it was uh, inevitable that Aquaman 2018, the uh, only DC movie to cross over $1 billion, was going to have a sequel greenlit just a month after it released. Warner Brothers and DC had no idea that Aquaman 2 would become one of the most cursed movies of all time, not only with production setbacks due to the COVID pandemic, but also behind the scenes drama with Amber Heard and her trial with Johnny Depp, which led to the film having extensive reshoots and having uh, three different cuts before they were finally satisfied with uh, before they were finally totally satisfied with the film. And it's uh, uh, it's such a shame that people were bitching away about this movie and writing it off as a failure before it even released. So I am proud I made my video back in April about giving Aquaman 2 a fair chance going into it, and uh, this is how the DCU concludes, with no red carpet premiere, no Justice League Part 3 movie to end this franchise. Well, because Warner Brothers and DC had no idea at the time of making Aquaman 2 it would be the last in the DC before James Gunn would come along. I am going to greatly miss the DCU with all my heart, as when Man of Steel released 10 years ago, uh, I had no clue that I would fall in love with it as much as I did. And through all of the uh, backlash and challenges that the DCU has faced throughout these 10 years, I have stuck by it through uh, thick and thin and have never once stopped being a fan of it. I mean, it's still one of the most underrated movie franchises, period. I mean, and to those who call the DCU bad, well, uh, the DCU has Wonder Woman, it has the Suicide Squad, it has Shazam. So clearly there is lots of good in it. So as for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, even though this movie was getting panned and a half by critics, that didn't prevent me from seeing it on opening weekend to support this movie to prevent it from bombing too hard. And I have to say, flipping heck, this movie awed me. The Lost Kingdom is the amazing Aquaman sequel that we deserve, and it concludes the DCU with a bang. This may be the one review on YouTube to call this the conclusion to the DCU with a bang instead of a whimper. Somebody needs to be on this movie's side, and even if the first Aquaman is the slightly stronger film, this comes extremely closer to its predecessor's level. And if this is the very last James Wong Aquaman movie, then they went out sky high, and we now have a awesome duology of Aquaman movies to enjoy. It is a great pity we will never see an Aquaman 3, as I would love to see more after this, but if James Gunn has something great planned for Aquaman, then James Gunn, show me what you've got, man. And the Lost Kingdom having well, all these reshoots goes to show that Warner Brothers and DC did give a shit about this movie after all, to release a final product to us DC fans who have been with it for 10 years. That we deserve. The biggest question on all your minds, the first thing you're going to ask, how much of Amber Heard do we get in this movie? She is in the movie a lot more than you would think she would be, and I could not be happier. This is a tremendous win for us Amber Heard defenders, and that penchant to remove her failed, thank God. And Mera is the best part of this movie, just like she was my favourite part of the first. She is a loss in the first and third acts of this film, but is pretty absent from the middle acts. But still, she gets more lines than I thought, and gets a fight scene or two, and she saves Arthur's life more than once. So go Mera. We even get a fight scene with her and Atlanta taking on Black Manta and his goons together, and that was fucking badass to see the two Aquaman queens fight alongside one another. And Mera's powers with her controlling water, I mean, that is still the shit. And this movie is even it's twice as visually stunning as the first Aquaman, and this is truly the Avatar: The Way of Water of DC. James Wong truly does not hold back with any of his artistic concept arts for the expansion of the Atlantean lore and different kingdoms that we see in the film. We get not only the Dark Kingdom Chris that's frozen under the depths of the ice caps, and the frozen feel does give this movie a grittier feel, but we also get a volcanic island with a jungle with killer locusts, which literally feast on a huge rat. I am not kidding. That's literally an action scene in this film, and it is freaking epic. We also get well to see uh, even Orm's prison is huge in scope, and I mean, this is easily the biggest in scope of the four DC movies that we have had in 2023. James Wong does geniusly incorporate not only a little horror in this movie, but a huge sense of scale. I mean, which makes him the only guy that could bring Aquaman to the big screen. And Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I mean, he may have upped his performance in this movie from the first, as his character this time is having to deal with lots of things. Well, his family life and being a king who frequently argues with the Atlantean Council, and he's just trying to balance a life where two worlds and one family come together, as they say in Tars. And so you do stand by him in his plans to unite land and sea together, and for Atlantis to finally reveal itself to the surface world in a peaceful way. And I loved Orm's redemption arc in this movie. Yeah, Patrick Dempsey has so many more layers to him this time round, being, well, the former baddie turned good now, and the brother bond between Arthur and Orm is the heart of the movie, he, and I can see why Mera is barely in the part of the movie where Arthur and Orm are going on their quest. The first Aquaman was Arthur and Mera's story. Aquaman 2 is Arthur and Orm's story, and even uh, Arthur gets some equal emotional scenes with both his parents, not only with Atlanta, played amazingly by Nicole Kidman, and she thankfully, well, gets to do a whole lot more in this one, but also some uh, uh, decent moments with his father, who stays at home to babysit Junior most of the time. Junior, Arthur and Mera's baby son, he is the most adorable superhero baby since May Parker from Across the Spider-Verse. And Mera using her water abilities to flick Arthur Jr.'s pee in Arthur's face. I mean, that is one of the few times in cinema they made a pee joke ridiculously funny, and the humor in this movie, I gotta say, cheesy as fuck, yes, but awesome as fuck. But this is not as cheesy tonally as its predecessor. This is a darker movie with higher stakes, and that is helped by Black Manta, who is a way better villain in this film. That is one thing this movie improved over the first. It made Black Manta a hell of a lot more of a threat, and he is one savage son of a bitch here. And uh, that's uh, Kalos King, a demon villain who Black Manta does a deal with when once he gets the Black Trident. Yeah, he looks uh, uh, freaky, like the DC equivalent of Sauron. And I don't mind we don't get much of a battle with him once he is unthawed from the ice, because the climax rightfully kept the focus on the battle between Arthur and Orm and Black Manta, and when Orm was possessed by the Demon King. Yeah, the right way to execute this finale, to put heart before action, and yeah, and also in the moment in the trailer where you see Arthur's father's lighthouse are destroyed by Black Manta. Don't worry, Arthur's father doesn't die. Thankfully, he is revived just in time. So this movie is not as predictable as you would think, uh, and I do love that Arthur did attempt to save Black Manta in the end when he's hanging off the cliff, as by nearly losing his father and his son, he kind of saw things from Black Manta's point of view, even if Black Manta refused his help. And the scientist who does pal around with Black Manta, he does see how pure evil and consumed with vengeance Black Manta is, and he wants no part of it by the end. And he even got a lovely kiss from Mera on the cheek, and I'm like, lucky bastards. And can we mention how Mera is the one and only DC female superhero in this universe to successfully marry and have a child? None of the others have achieved that. How is nobody pointing that out about her? Oh, and this movie has the greatest soundtrack of the four DC movies this year, bar none, from Rupert Grenson Williams, particularly the theme of the Dark Kingdom Rising. That's was thrilling. This is a shorter movie than the first Aquaman, which does help the pace and uh, feel tight and consistent. And the fight scenes are just like the first Aquaman uh, awesome on every level. So yeah, there is nothing to bitch about Aquaman 2, in at least in my point of view. Oh, and also stay for the post-credit scene if you want to see Orm eat a cockroach. So yeah, I know I'm going to be the one and only movie fan and amateur critic that gives Aquaman 2 a defense review and stands with it, but I don't care. And I will forever treasure and cherish the DCEU from 2013 to 2023. James Gunn, it's on you. Best of luck.
I give Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom 5 stars out of 5. Best conclusion to the DCEU ever.
So yeah, this wouldn't be my favorite DC movie of the four this year. That would still be The Flash, and though I would probably put this one over Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and it's certainly a step up from Blue Beetle. Uh, uh, well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? I mean, I can see the vast majority of you are disagreeing with me here, but please comment and let me know. Let's have a civil discussion. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'll see you all next time where I rank the DCU from best to worst. As for Joker 2 and the one DC movie we are receiving in 2024, I my hype for that one is only growing and growing. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.